Hey guys, for today's video, I wanted to talk to you about an easy way to increase your happiness. This method is literally as simple as reducing the amount of negative sources in your life. Now in my own life, one of the first negative sources I cut out is watching the news. I do not watch the news really at all. The only time I'll see it is when I'm walking into the living room and my roommate is watching the news. Because otherwise, I don't go out of my way to look it up. Why? Because I realized after a while that staying up to date on the news was making me incredibly negative. And this was years ago, and I was still living with my parents at the time, and they can attest to the fact that it definitely made me a more negative person. And somewhere down the line, I realized that, and I said, I don't want to give the news that kind of power over me. So the easiest solution was to cut it out of my life. And since then, I've also cut out negative people. That's a very important one because you don't want to be spending time and energy with people who are going to be bringing you down. I mean, there's no point in that. They're not really a good source in your life, and life's pretty short, so you want to make sure you're choosing good relationships. So don't tolerate people who bring you down. Choose to have friends who are uplifting and who help you become better. So that's another way of reducing negativity in your life, with the people. But other than that, just your own way of thinking. You should try to reduce the amount of negative thoughts you have in your head. And this is probably the hardest one out of them all to do. It's easy to cut out the news and negative sources like that in the media. It's pretty easy to cut out negative people. You just have to find a way that works for you. But reducing the amount of negative thoughts in your own head is quite an endeavor. But one thing that helps is realizing that they're probably not your thoughts in the first place. And what I mean by that is think about how many children are super negative. Not many, right? It's because negativity, or especially the negative thought patterns, you kind of have to learn them. They're kind of something that need to be programmed into you by society and the media and movies and other stuff like that. The people you hang out with. Because on your own, nobody would really be inclined to beat themselves up on a daily basis with their thoughts. I mean, what good does that do for you? You have to learn that, and you have to pretty much learn it at a young age. Because when you're young, you're not going to question it. You're going to think it's normal if everybody else is doing it. But as an adult, if you did not already have negative thought patterns and somebody tried to kind of instill them in you, you would notice it and be like, why the hell would I want to do that? So the way to get rid of negative thoughts is pretty much you have to train yourself to notice when they're happening. You have to notice when your thoughts are turning into that dark place and then consciously step out of it. So that pretty much involves awareness. You have to be aware of your thoughts. And when you have a negative thought, you don't necessarily need to reject it per se, but you can kind of notice it and just let it float on by. You don't need to let it affect you. I mean, when you get down to it, thoughts have no power over you except the power that you give them. Like, they cannot affect your emotions on their own. They really can't. They're just words in your head. You have to analyze them and give them power in order for them to do anything to you, in order for them to have an effect on you. So when you find yourself thinking about negative stuff, you just don't need to pay any attention to those thoughts. Let them float on by, and they will. And then if you want, you can then reframe and think about something positive, whatever it may be. Maybe a positive aspect of yourself, a positive aspect about the world, or just gratitude for something in your immediate surroundings or your life. One thing that I like to think about pretty often is just being grateful that I'm even alive in the first place. It's pretty awesome. So that's pretty much all you need to reduce the amount of negativity in your life. Cut out any negative sources like in the media or things that you encounter on a daily basis. cut out negative people, and then do your best to retrain your mind so you're not having negative thoughts as often. And when you do all those three things, you're going to be a lot happier down the road. It's going to take some time. It will. It always does. But these things, once they're put into practice, they'll inevitably make you happier. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci.